I still have feelings for my ex-wife. I, 28M. Used to be married to an amazing woman, 24F. We divorced 2 years ago, and we were dating for 1 year, married for 3. She was still as the love of my life, and our divorce is my biggest regret. My mother was a nightmare mill. I stupidly let her involve herself in our marriage, mistreat my ex-wife by constantly criticizing her. I never called her to complain about my ex or sided with her against my ex-wife, but I should have enforced strict boundaries with her as soon as I realized she was going to be a problem for us. I did go no contact with her twice, during my ex-wife's miscarriages because I didn't want her to have added stress. However, during our second miscarriage, my mother found out by reading some texts off my sister's phone and went ballistic. She found out it was the second one from the texts too. She turned up to our home, and instead of turning her away instantly, I took her into the living room and tried to explain things to her while my ex-wife who was upstairs resting was unaware of her being there. My mother pretended to calm down, but when I went into our backyard to bring the cats inside, she went upstairs and woke my ex-wife up. She screamed at her for ruining my relationship with her and made some horrible comments about her being barren. By the time I got upstairs, 5 minutes later, because the cats were not very happy with me bringing them inside, my ex-wife was in tears. I kicked my mother out immediately, but that was my ex-wife's final straw, and we split up a month later and agreed to remain friends. We acknowledged that we still had feelings for each other, but that this relationship wasn't beneficial to her anymore. We lived in the US, but my ex-wife's dad lives in the UK, so after our divorce, she went to go spend some time with him and ended up getting employed by one of his friends. I was devastated by the divorce. I immediately went no contact with my mother and put myself into therapy. Therapy helped me understand that my relationship with my mother wasn't healthy, and I learned some good strategies to keep communication with her healthy, so I'm now low contact with her. We only speak during family events. My siblings have told me that she still doesn't see what she's done wrong, so I definitely won't be advancing beyond LC for the foreseeable future. I've not moved on from my divorce, and I think I'm even more in love with my ex than I have been before. I've not seen anyone new, and she's constantly on my mind. During the first 6 months of my ex-wife living in the UK, we didn't speak. However, on our wedding anniversary she sent me a text that read, "Happy un-anniversary. Insert a nickname that she used to call me," followed by, "I thought we agreed to stay friends, loser." For the rest of her first year away, we texted each other every now and then, like on my birthday, her birthday, my brother's birthday. For my brother's birthday, she sent his to my house and I gave it to him for her. Before the MRAs get here, my brother is gay and they have been friends since they were children. He set us up on our first date, so I don't want any crazy DMs. During her second year away, we fell into a more typical friendship, and I told her about the therapy I had after she asked me if I had cut the umbilical cord, yet she told me about 2 men that she had dated and about how both relationships ended. I wasn't weird about it, but it made me think about how much I missed her and how much I still loved her. My thoughts kept me up that night, and I couldn't stop hating myself for ruining things with her. I still have both of our wedding rings and her engagement ring. Due to recently world events, she hasn't been able to come visit anyone here in the US, but she's moving back in October. I was actually the first person she told about that. Everyone's pretty excited, and my brother is organizing a homecoming party for her and I've been invited. It's probably going to be hosted at my house, our marital home, because I'm the only person in our circle who lives alone. However, my brother asked me if I'd hanging out with her by myself at some point. I wasn't planning on asking her to, but now that he's brought it up, it's all I can think of. They are best friends, so some part of me is thinking she might have put him up to it just like she did when she asked him to set us up together. In the first place, I asked my sister for her input, but she said that I shouldn't ask her to meet up with me and I should wait for her to ask if wants to. I think she might still have feelings for me because when she was telling me about one of her breakups she said, "None of the men over here can handle me like you can." But her humor is generally flirtatious, so I can't be sure. I would love an outside perspective on this. Would asking her out be the right thing to do? Thanks for reading. Mini update 08-23. Y'all have convinced me to ask her now instead of waiting for October. It's late in the UK right now, but I will call her tomorrow. Thanks for all of the encouragement. Edit 1. I wanted to clarify what I meant by LC since I know everyone has a different interpretation of it. The LC I have is only saying happy birthday to each other in the family group chat. We're never the first to say it to each other and the conversation doesn't advance beyond that point. Whenever she comes up to me at family events, which isn't often anymore, she usually asks how I am and for updates on my life. I give her one-worded answers and grey rock the rest. My therapist calls this method, civil NC, which I think is more accurate. She freaked out about no contact when my ex-wife first left, and regularly blew up my phone. LC has been more peaceful. I am aware this will change if my ex-wife and I get back together, and I'll be working with my therapist to create a plan for every possibility. I plan on returning to NC after the phone call tomorrow, and I want to make it as safe and peaceful as possible, so if a tiny bit of conversation is what it takes, I'll do it. Edit 2. I'm logging off now because this is making me anxious, in a good way, don't worry. Next time y'all will hear from me is after our conversation. Flexed biceps light skin tone. Flexed biceps light skin tone. Cut the mini updates to shorten the post. Big update. I asked if she'd like to come out to dinner with me when she's back. She said yes. She actually asked me what took me so long to ask LMAO. She said that if I hadn't asked her before the week before her return, then she would have asked me out, so thank you guys sulfur monoxide much for pushing me to call her. I feel like me making the first move is more meaningful, as I was the one who ruined our marriage. I'm literally on cloud 11 right now. We're going to take it slow this time. We got engaged after 6 months the first time round. LMAO. I'm also going to be picking her up from the airport. Do I bring her flowers? I also spoke to her about my mom. She was aware of the civil NC arrangement we had, and she said she didn't mind if I kept it, but I don't want to, and I made that clear. I only tolerate my mom's presence for my siblings and their children at events, but I am going to stop attending and celebrate important stuff with them at a different time. I'm hoping my nieces and nephews harass my siblings enough about me being missing from their birthday parties that my siblings uninvite my mom. LMAO. I know I'm their favorite uncle. I apologized to her immensely, and she said she'd hang up if I apologized anymore, so I had to quit. I know this is just the beginning, and more apologies will definitely follow once we start to discuss our failed marriage, so I'm not trying to max out her apology acceptance capacity. She's also agreed to start couples counseling with me once she gets back. We also discussed the possibility of, if we do get married again, us moving to the UK. She said that she wants to stay in the town I'm currently in for the next few years, as she's missed her family and friends here a lot. Her maternal family is her paternal family is in the UK. But she said returning to the UK wasn't off the table completely, and I told her I'd follow her in a heartbeat. She called me a nerd. LMAO. Our conversation lasted 2 hours, and she had to go because she's taking her younger siblings out. She also said she had been asking my brother to hint to me that she wanted me back, so I was right about what he was doing. I saw a comment earlier saying that I should have just asked my brother to spill it out properly, and I wish I could convey how insanely annoying he is to y'all. I'd have to hold him hostage to get him to say anything. I know we have so much more to discuss in the month before she returns, and I'm making a priority list. Psycho mom is at the top. I told my ex I wanted to sell the house so my mom won't have my address, and I swear she wanted to reach through the screen and choke me. She loves the house, and she said I can't list it anywhere or speak to a real estate agent before she has the chance to look around again, and I'm happy to oblige my queen. I also saw some comments saying that I shouldn't send my mom that email, explaining my boundaries and consequences for her breaking them. IDK if it was here or on our just no mill. And since my ex-wife doesn't want to leave this town for the near future, and given how small the town is, it's likely for my mother to run into us together and separately. I run into my mom at least once a week and we ignore each other. I would hope she would have the decency not to say anything, but she can't be trusted. I will be taking legal action if she does break our boundaries. Advice on this is appreciated. My current plan is to attempt total NC in the month before my ex-wife returns. There are 4 family birthdays coming up, so it'll be perfect. My absence at all 4 events will definitely be noticed by her, and I can see her reaction to it. I might also ask my brother and sister to sit her down and tell her not to bother me and that I've decided to go total NC, but I'd like to know if that's a good idea. I know some of y'all are mad at civil NC, but it's kept the peace I needed for the past 2 years. However, I know everything will be different when my ex-wife is back. Thank you all so much. You're all invited to our second wedding. Edit 3. She found this post off Best Redditor Updates. LMAO. She called me a total nerd. She wants me to thank y'all for convincing me to call her instead of waiting for October. And she told me to call her my girlfriend instead of ex-wife, so that's what I'll be. Using from now on. Edit 4. I won't be making an update post tomorrow. This sub only allows one update, and I'd rather save it for when my girlfriend is back. Also, I'm fully aware that my mom is a racist. By closet racist, I meant someone who's kept it hidden effectively for so long. She's also just a fucking weirdo in general, so there's multiple reasons for why she doesn't like my girlfriend and my brother's boyfriend other than race. She hates my girlfriend because of her messed up family background and for the miscarriages in addition to race, and she hates my brother's BF for being into motorbikes and smoking the green. She's incredibly absurd, so at the beginning I wasn't sure if it was racism or not, but now it's pretty obvious. My sister's boyfriend is also black. He's my girlfriend's cousin. We set them up LMAO. But he refuses to meet my mom because of how my girlfriend was treated. She's never commented on their relationship. Edit 508-25. I doubt y'all are still lurking here, but I thought I'd give a mini update. After spending some time on Just No Mill and speaking with my therapist, I've decided the best course of action on re-establishing total NC is having a lawyer contact my mother. I've made contact with a good lawyer today, and we're going to begin drafting a letter to send to her. Some stuff I've seen on JNM have worried me, so I've also begun collecting evidence needed for a restraining order. I don't know how well old texts and videos will work, but it's worth a shot. My girlfriend thinks I'm being too militant. LMAO. I think her time away has made her forget the worst of it, but she appreciates that I want to protect her. Judging by some of the comments, I think some of y'all have assumed that we're moving in together, but we aren't. My mother does not know the address of where my girlfriend will be living.